drawn a vertical line across there, look. Now I'm dipping in to some yellow. I've actually already wet this paper because I wetted it and then I thought, what are you doing? You haven't pressed record yet. I didn't realise that I'd not pressed record, so I'd already wetted it like so. And then I'm coming down into here like this. Thick bit right in that middle bit there, like that. Even thicker, about like that. That's it. Because what I want to do, get a little blob of this if I can, see if this works. To get some sun in there, about there. That's my sun. Right, I think that'll do. Let's try that. Just as a bit of a warning, there's going to be a lot of drying in this one. Right, now I think what I'm going to do now, get some bright red, try and mix up a bright orange, I think. See what I can do. See, I've gone bright red into that yellow. I've mixed up an orange. In fact, let me just. I think I'm just going to re-wet some of this paper. Try not to use too many strokes because this paper, it's not fantastic paper. In fact, I'll just go straight over that. So this isn't fantastic paper, so the more strokes I use, the more likely I am for things to go wrong. So I think I'll just come in like that, and then like that orange like that. Dip in a bit more, tiny bit more in there like that. That's perfect. Soften that out. In fact, it goes sort of across there like that with looks of things. And then there's some of this orange in this tea as well. Just more going out to the sides there like that. That's it. Get this damp brush. I should be able to soften that in. I think that's pretty good. Sand. Is that enough? I think so, yeah, that'll do. Try that. If you can afford proper watercolour paper, then use it. This is cartridge paper. But if you can't, use this. It's dirt cheap, it's mint. But you've got to do as little strokes as you can, because if not, your paper just disintegrates. You've got to keep your strokes very down to a few. The less strokes you have, the less likely you are to die. Right. So come in there now. I think I'm going to have to just come through everything and hope it don't drip down that far. Right, I need some cerulean blue now. Oh no, I don't think I can wash that brush properly. What means I don't want no green in it. Let's have a look. I've got to work faster while that water will dry. See this, I'm using a lot of brush strokes and I can't afford to, because this will just run out of me. There, now I've got to somehow try to blend that into there and try not to get it to hit too much, because I don't particularly want it turning green. So I'll go to this brush, what I'm using as a softening brush. I've wet it and cleaned it. There's a tiny bit of water still on it. There. Well, I think I've got away with that. I'm going to dry that. In fact, I'm going to leave that for a minute. I'm going to do the same in my sea. Just do the same in my sea. So I'm talking this side. Let's get this in. There's a lot of blue there. And it sort of fades out as it comes across here. A tiny bit there, but not much. Not matter if this goes a tiny bit green, because this is sea. Your sea does go a tiny bit green. Right, I've wet this brush, and then I've just dabbed it on my tea towel so it's not wet through. Now, let's have a look at that. I've probably gone over that a few too many times, because like I say, I do not want this to this paper to disintegrate. So I mean, it's a really good practice to do as fewer brush strokes as you can. It's a really good practice anyway, so it's using this paper as a try and pull this paper straight. So all I'm doing is re-clipping it and stretching it a bit more. You can't see what I'm doing, but that's what I'm doing. There. Let's try that. So is that still on? Yeah. All I've done is pulled them clips there tighter to stretch the paper across. See how it's all coupling. Again, that with good quality waterpaper, that'll not happen. Like that. See that little bit there? That's from using cheap paint. And it's done a little thick blob there. If you use better quality paint, student quality paint's actually brilliant quality. If you use that, that'll not happen. But in there, it's worked to my favour, because there's loads of little dark bits in there like that. That worked to my favour. Right, and what do I need now? Right, I've got to wet my entire sky again. Let me mix the colour up first. So, my colour looks to me like it's purple right at the bottom, and then as it goes up to the top, it sort of gets a bit of blue coming into it. So I think there's too much water on my brush here. Squeeze my brush out and then try again from there like that. Yeah, I think that's perfect. Mix a tiny bit of that blue in. Let's try that on paper. Always try. Best idea is to take a little bit of scrap plastic practice paper to one side. Say like a painting you've bodged up or something, and you should use the back of that, something like that, just for it as a thing, just to check. Right here, I need to work fast because I need as fewer strokes as I can, and then I need to work fast. Because like I say, put too many strokes on this, it'll ruin this paper. Right, so I'm coming about here. It's all these little clouds. What I'll do if this starts drying on me, I'll let it dry, well, dry it with air dryer, and then start again. What I wished I'd done there is I wished I'd started with that big blob in the middle there instead of starting on the side. That big blob's a bit harsh in there. Soften it back in, but I just wished I'd done that. In fact, this, I'm going to get away with it actually looking at it, this comes right over here. What I can do, get this brush with no paint on it and just soften some bits in. I don't know. That should make it ultra natural looking. Is this paper still wet enough? I think it is. What's that? Nah. What I think I'm going to do, a little dab of water again. I think just on this bottom bit, add a few more little bits. There's a tiny little streak coming in there. There's a couple of little streaks just coming in here. There's tiny little streaks like that. It's not much, it's really subtle. There's a couple of them like that. And this actually comes right down here. But again, that's really soft, that bit is. So I'm going to try and soften that a little bit more. Got to be careful because it'll pull it back to white paper when you're doing this softening bit. Dry that, now look at it. Still move that up a bit because I'm concentrating down here more now. Right, only thing I'm wanting to do now is just down here, get some water out of that brush, just down here on that very bottom bit. I fancy a bit more orange in, but I'm running risk now of going over this cheap paper so much that it damages it. So far I've got away with it. I am running that risk now, but I really would like a tiny bit more orange in there, so I'm just going to come in like that with my damp brush. This is no paint on this brush, it's a damp brush. Into that bit there. Hopefully it'll go in nice and soft. Did I wet right over there? Need it wetting right. I fancy coming into there a bit, so make sure it's wet. Soften that in. Tiny bit in there. That'll do me. Get that quick dry. Like I say, there's a lot drying in this one. Now I'm building up the scene out because on the drying that paper's cockled really bad now, but all I'll do is I'll put that under some big heavy books, flatten it back out, and then that'll look lovely. I've just thought there's a there's a bit of land here. In fact, I'm going to put this in with a little brush. There's a little bit of land in here, so rather than go wrong, I'll put it in with a little brush. It's basically purple. I'll start this side, so it's quite high up that side there, comes down there, across there. In fact, I'm trying to look at what's happening in the actual photo. It don't really matter. There's just a bit of a thing here what comes across. Has it got to be perfect? No. So it doesn't matter what happens in photo. I've added a bit of water to my brush, so the paint was a bit thinner over here. I think it's gone a bit too thin. And now I'm rubbing my paper to try and get it to spread across, but like I say, on this cheap paper, that's a bit of a dodgy thing to do, because it don't always work. I've just dabbed into a little bit more paint now. A little bit more water. My finger's gone in water. Right, come across. See where I've gone into water and it's got that little edge there, so I've got to rub it to rub that out if I can. But like I say, on this paper, can be dodgy. Right, sort of fades right out across here. Another dab of paint now. Back into some water. It's really faint as it comes down there. I think I'll end it there. So, oh, I like that. I like how it fades in and out. You can only just see, with time I dry that, you might not even see that, but I'm hoping you do. There. Let's get drier on that. Right, now, so far, I've sort of done most of my stuff with purples and blues. I'm going to add in now a tiny bit of Payne's Grey into this purple. Not much, just a little bit. There's another hill. It sort of comes in about there, like that, across here. I just think I'll just get it in to start with. Comes through to about there. Well, that's that. It's like a creamish, looks like a creamish muggy colour down there. I might just dab my brush in a bit of water. Let's see what happens. Just sort of pull it through it. So there's a bit here. What sort of comes round here. I'll dip into some of that cream colour I mixed earlier. That, well, not cream, that orangey colour. Use some of that. It sort of come. That's just a little bit of beach on that corner there. So use that orange colour for that. Can reflect the sky, and then I'm just going to dab into that some Payne's Grey, and there's a bit of muck on my palette, and I'm pretty sure that bit of muck's got a bit of Bontumber in it, but I'm mainly wanting Payne's Grey. So just stick a bit of that into there. In fact, it looks like this sort of comes down there a bit like that, and all this black bit here. Yeah. So if I come into there like that, soften that all in. And then some more just pure Payne's Grey. This seems to come down here like that on this bit. Yeah, it does. Well, it's sort of a bit fiddling about, but it's worth it. A bit more in there. So that's basically a bit, I think it's a bit of beach. I'm going on what's on my photo. Looks like that's a bit of beach. Dee, dee, dee. There we are, that'll do for that. Right, let's move this up because we're mainly concentrating on this bottom bit, so make it so you can see that bit. Right, oh well, 20 minutes already. Time flies when you ain't full. Some coffee. Right, looking at this cerulean right across that back bit. So mix some cerulean up and start whacking that in. A load of cerulean on my brush. Squeeze my brush out. Oh, that's perfect. Something like my hand, it's all on my hand. Right. Dab my brush again, just to chisel my hand. Wipe it on my tea towel so it's not wet through. See how my hand's chiselled? That's because the end of this brush is nice and wet. Right, now, if I come in about there. I suppose I would start over here really, didn't I? This will fade a bit. Dip into a bit of water. But this will fade a bit. It'll come in softer than what it is at the minute. I suppose I need to go right up to that edge there on the horizon line really. So I'll get that up to there, look like that. Into there, come into there. In fact, this pretty much does come right in. It's not looking at it. It's just a little line straight down there of that yellow. A bit more, tiny bit more on my brush. Put some dabs in here. There's a lot. It was a lot bluey down on this side. A lot bluier. And this is just flatten out. I'd say that's a bit of beach there, so there's quite a bit of white froth and stuff here. I can hardly speak. Froth. I nearly said froth. Quite a bit of that looks frothy. Plenty of water on that. This is just building up then. I think what I might do is get quite a bit of this building up across here. Try and go a bit faster, I think. I don't think I need to go dead slow and careful. Let's have a go. That's going in lovely at that. See that little layer there? I'll leave that. I'll pick that. If you get that, pick it off when it's dry. It's miles easier. Across there. So try and wet my brush to weaken it as it goes across there. And then can weaken it as it comes in there. That's looking nice. Well, this side, there's sort of some thick waves that's coming right across there, so they look like they're more in a purple. I'm going to dry that then and go in with some purple. See that air there? Straight off when it's dry. Sip of coffee. I'm not going to bother washing my brush, I'm just going to dip straight into that purple with that colour that's on my brush. I think it'll be right. Right, now then. Well, I've got this strong purple because I've only just dipped it. I took my clips off by the way, they weren't helping it cockled up that much. It seemed to be making it worse. Well, I've got this thick purple on, I think I'm going to come in here with it. Just start building up. It's like a big sort of thing. Sort of coming across there like that. And then it sort of fades out and goes across at a normal angle. And there's a more fainter one about there. bring that up and follow that line there. Look, instead of following my picture, sometimes if there's a nice line in there, follow that instead. And then there's something about there. Dee dee dee. And then I think we sort of start now. There, that's lovely. Now I'm going to go back to this bit here, up here. Just start dabbing. That in a few bits. In fact, some of these bits in here, we go right across. Start doing some of that. There's next to nothing on my brush at the minute, but if you look, you can just see it's still adding a little tiny bit in. In fact, let me go along this horizon line like that. Let's put a little tiny bit in. Perfect. Right, I've got some more on my brush now. I'll come right through it. It's just leaving gaps. Trying to chisel. I've put some more paint on. I've tried to chisel my brush a little bit more. Back here. I'll stick a bit more water in that purple. It's looking a tiny bit strong, I think. There. Chisel my brush again. Purple looking a tiny. It don't matter for the odd strong bit, but it was just looking a tiny bit too strong for me. That's a nice watery purple at that. On my photo, I'll probably do it same. It's a bit across here where there's next to nothing. But there it is. Dip in some water and in some more purple. And there is a tiny line across there for that horizon line. Tiny little thin bit. In fact, it looks like it goes all the way across there, and that's just in a purple. Really subtle that is. Look at that. And then that sort of drifts off. And there's like just a bit there where it's really calm. Dee, dee, dee. Right, I think I need to start. We're on 27 minutes. I think I need to start painting a bit quicker, because you don't need to fiddle about. I'm making it look more harder than what it is. See, this looks quite dark, but it's actually going to dry a lot lighter than what it is. There, that's better, isn't it? Going a bit faster now. Right, there's this purple going across there, that bit there, this bit there. Is there any? Yeah, there's loads of little bits in between that. Loads of little bits, so pop all them in. There, that'll do me. Quick blast wick dryer. Some water on my brush. I'm going to mix up now some cerulean blue and mix some purple into it, so it's them same colours as what's in that sky, but to take this cerulean blue a bit darker. Then mix some of this purple in. More, a bit more. That's perfect. So that now just looks like a dark blue. There's a lot on my brush. Let's squeeze that out. There's too much on my brush there. That's just gone a dark blue now by mixing them two colours. Brush on my tea towel, don't want it saturated with water. Right, dip into that, and let's go. Across there, that's there. Like I say, there's loads of little bits in between here. Them little bits are sort of going in a straight line, even though them darker bits aren't. Them little bits are. That's it, straight across all there. Get this little bit further down. Let's go into them bits there where my clip was. Paint. Just a dab of water. Soften some of this off. Better. We'll go back. Soften it off. There we are. That big line there, look. And there's another one there. Where there's a couple of big waves, and there's another one there, and one there, look, a big one there. Maybe there, and there, and across there. Right, now then. Get that blast. Time's cracking on. Right, what I'm going to do this time, plenty of cerulean blue, but now I'm going to go into purple, so it's going to be a bluey purple this time, more of a purple than blue. Let's try that. Come into these bits here, look. So there's that bit there, that one there, there's one there, quite a strong one about there. Let's set that one across there, that one there, across, and then dip into a tiny bit of water and soften some of them bits off. A bit more of that colour, we've gone a bit too soft, especially on this front bit. Back into some water and soften some of that off into the background there. Some curvy bits coming off of that there. There we are. Let's get that dry. Not going to wash my brush, but just looking at my photo, there's a lot more purple in my photo, so I've just gone into a thick purple now. Right, let's get some of these bits in here. So there's a lot of waves sort of coming in there, like that. Right. And there's these bits here. Just cutting into that. Dampen my brush and soften it. Soften a lot of that purple in this. There's a lot of purple in this painting. Let's see, these bits here, they do come in, so I'll go across like that. Oh, there's a few little stronger bits in there now. Some softening bits. Soften that in. Soften that in. Soften some of that in. Gradually building up. Come back into some cerulean without drying it now. Just pop a few bits in there like that. A few bits back in here. There's a lot of cerulean over this side. A bit more cerulean. Strengthen up some of these cerulean bits. Right, I'm gonna go into some Payne's grey now. Just get some fat. I've got Payne's grey and a tiny bit of Bont Umber. I think I'm gonna leave my paper damp for this. Just soften a few bits in. So don't want too over the top with this. But there's some really dark shadows in this water. So I think if I stick these in and then do a bit of softening after, because my paper's still slightly wet, it should go in slightly soft. I'll just dip my brush into a bit of water so they go in a bit softer as I go back. Look, there's a bit less paint and a bit more water on my brush there as I go back. There, let's bring some of these bits in. These are the little waves and that. There's no there's a few little bits of white down here, but on these bits here there's no white. It's all this bluish colour. Right, I'm just mixing in any colour now. I've gone back into some blue, back into some purple, coming towards the end now, back into some just pure water. Let's try to brush up the tea towel and just softening some of this stuff back up here. I think yeah, I think we're about done. That's some seriously choppy water. Right, that's that. Let's give that one more dry. Designer's white gouge. Just put some in here in this little tray. Right, just in here. In fact, let me get a smaller brush. These is quite far away. Just in around here, there's some little bits of white. This will fade right back as well, so don't panic if it looks a bit too white. This will all fade back. And then there's a bit sort of there like that, and a few bits. There's a nice fat bit about there, nice fat bit of white about there. Like I say, this looks like there's loads on here. This will all fade back as it dries. Let's get into this smaller brush now. This will virtually disappear as it dries. That's where we're going in towards that beach, you see. So there's a few bits of white in there. Squeeze that right into there. Put that in there now. That in there. My tiny little brush. This has been a long one. Plenty of paint on this brush. Where shall we have them? Thinking. Near this focal point here. Peter, Paul, or is it Peter and Paul? Is it Gladys and Gertrude, the two seagulls? And then I think I'm going to have a third one. Let's have him right up here. About there, a bigger one. There we are. Looks nice. Now, what am I washing my brush for? Tell you what I need in here. Let's pop it about there. Bertie dee. There we are. I'll give that a dry just so you can see how faint that white goes. See how that white's faded back? We're missing half at painting because it's curled up. Look, that's it. From there, let me lower it down a bit so you can see right at the top. I'll put my fingers there, told it. That one's sitting under a book for a few days. We've used that much water on it. It's curled all this paper up, but stick that under a book for a few days. Like so. So, I'll sit on that little bit of beach over there. Wah wah.